takes one game to completely soil a legacy. Name's Dave with WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 developers who ruined their reputation with just one game. For this list, we'll be looking at a variety of developers who had their reputation tanked by a single title. These can be either single individuals or whole teams. That said, we're leaving out any studios that are owned by EA. Otherwise, well, this list would be full of those teams and they would all point to the same problem.
Because yes, Fallout 76 is entirely online.
Number 10, Peter Molyneux, Goddess. Well before the travesty that was Goddess, Peter Molyneux already had a somewhat notorious reputation with gamers. While working on the Fable games, Molyneux had a tendency to overpromise on future titles only to underdeliver. However, Goddess ultimately decimated his credentials.
I've learnt that anyone can be a god, so long as someone believes in them.
Molyneux tried to sell the title on Kickstarter like it was a work of art. Indeed, the game looked unique in its simplistic visuals, but when backers finally got the download codes for the full game, they found it was an aggressively monetized mobile game rather than the PC god sim they were promised. The controversy would be too much for Molyneux, and he would cut all ties with the press in 2015, stating, "The only answer for me is to retreat."
I don't want to promise anything. I just want to deliver the glory of the old days in the new format of today's world.
Number 9, Fumito Ueda, The Last Guardian. Okay, let me explain this one. I know he has a dedicated fan following thanks to titles like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, but it's Ueda's business relationships that got him on this list. Beginning development in 2007, The Last Guardian went through development hell for 9 years, spending 4 of them under Team Ico's umbrella before Ueda left Sony and the team dissolved in 2011. Development would move to Ueda's new studio, Gen Design. When the game finally released in 2016, after 9 years, it was met with mixed reception due to technical issues and AI problems, resulting in the game bombing at retail. Ueda is working on a new game, but Sony is no longer interested in working with him. And you know, can't say we blame them. Number 8, Rare, Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts. Once upon a time, Rare were gaming gods, responsible for classics like Donkey Kong Country, GoldenEye 007, and Banjo-Kazooie on Nintendo platforms. Then, in 2002, the company was purchased by Microsoft to develop titles exclusively for Xbox platforms. While some titles did get good to lukewarm reception, it was their reinvention of Banjo-Kazooie's wheel that ruined everything. Nuts and Bolts was a vehicle creation sandbox game rather than a 3D platformer like its predecessors. The culmination of poor sales and mixed reception resulted in Microsoft restructuring the company to work on Kinect games for almost a decade, which many fans saw as a fate worse than defunct. Number 7, Yu Suzuki, Shenmue 3.
Well, how's it feel? Pretty nice to train with a master like me, isn't it?
Sure.
Ever since Shenmue 2 ended on a cliffhanger in 2001, fans have been clamoring for a sequel so that the story may close properly. They thought they would get their wish when the series creator Yu Suzuki announced the game's Kickstarter in 2015. 4 years, $6 million, and a couple of delays later, Shenmue 3 was released in 2019 to mediocre reception.
Oh, hi, mister.
You know this man?
He's my friend, Daddy.
Worse still, just like the first 2 games, it was a massive commercial failure. Much to fans' dismay, Shenmue 3 ended the story on yet another cliffhanger after the 18-year wait, with Suzuki wanting to make more sequels. He stated, quote, "If at all possible, I would still like to realize the full story of 11 chapters. Yeah, best of luck getting funds for that."
You'd better not run, Landi. I will avenge my father.
Number 6, Keiji Inafune, Mighty Number 9.
Bring it on!
In 2013, Inafune and his team announced a Kickstarter for a Mega Man spiritual successor, Mighty No. 9. With gorgeous concept art of the characters and environments, it looked like it would be the game the Blue Bomber fans had been craving. Alas, the project was a complete disaster. Oh, way to begin. The project was delayed 3 times despite supposedly being finished in January 2015. During these delays, Inafune and Concept tried to launch a Kickstarter for an entirely different project, which would eventually get backed by Fuse Entertainment. When backers complained about the shoddy quality of the game, Inafune's translator said the game was,
"Even if it's not perfect, it's better than nothing."
Which prompted even more mockery from a studio that made the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night. Yeah, I hate that line too.
So what do you think? You ready to play? I'm ready.
Number 5, Blizzard Entertainment, Warcraft III Reforged.
Job's done.
While Blizzard had already alienated fans over Blitzchung and Diablo Immortal, they pushed many of them over the edge. Warcraft III Reforged was a remaster of the original Reign of Chaos, complete with new character models and improved cinematics. Asterisks on that last part. Then came launch day, and while the character models were greatly improved, many significant changes Blizzard promised throughout development, like the improved cinematics, were missing.
I won't allow it, Mal'Ganis. Better that these people die by my hand than serve as your slaves in death.
To add further insult to injury, features from the original game were removed to coincide with the remaster's launch. Seriously, who would do that? After it became the lowest user-rated score on Metacritic, Blizzard's president J. Allen Brack issued an apology, and the company began offering refunds. So, is anyone still holding out hope for Diablo 4 now?
Unfortunately for you, it won't end here. Your journey has just begun, young prince.
Number 4, Konami, Metal Gear Survive.
Your life is dangerously low. However you do it, please heal yourself quickly.
Konami's reputation was already on shaky grounds after the infamous breakup with Hideo Kojima. As if the move to pachinko machines wasn't irritating enough, Konami would drive the Metal Gear franchise into the ground with Metal Gear Survive. No longer were we hiding in boxes or sneaking around enemy bases. Now was the time to fight zombies with pretty crystals impaled in their heads. It was absolutely uninspiring and a poor excuse to capitalize on the zombie survival trend, which was already dead by that point. Oh, and Konami wanted you to pay $10 for additional save files. If this didn't push gamers away from Konami, Contra Rogue Corps certainly did. Number 3, Todd Howard and Bethesda, Fallout 76. Much like Peter Molyneux, Todd Howard has a history of overpromising his games. Come on, Fallout 3 has 200 endings, Skyrim has an infinite number of quests? Seriously? However, the biggest lie came from Fallout 76. It all sounded too good to be true. 16 times the detail, 4 times the size of Fallout 4, and most importantly, just works. That's not what the countless bugs and glitches said. And Bethesda would only make things worse for the Fallout franchise by selling power helmets that molded easily, replacing canvas bags in the Power Armor Edition with nylon bags, delaying significant expansions, before ham-fisting in a subscription service that didn't work.
And that sometimes it doesn't just work.
It didn't work, it just didn't work.
So cool.
Number 2, John Romero and Ion Storm, Daikatana.
No problem, on my way.
With John Romero being tied to successes like Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake, the man thought he was unstoppable when he founded Ion Storm in an expensive penthouse skyscraper in Dallas. With the infamous advertisement, "John Romero is gonna make you his bitch." Daikatana was expected to be a brutally difficult game with impeccable AI. Indeed, the game was difficult to play.
On my way.
The AI was so laughably bad that no one took it seriously. Thus, it became one of the biggest commercial disasters in gaming history. Romero left Ion Storm a year later, and the studio itself would later close down in 2004. While Romero still continues to release games, none of them have come close to matching his original success stories. Not even remotely close. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Atari, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Many of the developers have simply had a bad habit of overhyping games. At least none of them have caused something as catastrophic as the 1983 crash, which is more than enough reason to put Atari at the top spot. Years of saturating the market and no quality control finally caught up to them in 1982, when E.T. launched.
Made especially for systems from Atari, the video game that lets you help E.T. get home.
Put together in only 6 weeks to make the Christmas deadline, the game was such a monumental failure that it made the public wary of buying video games. With unsold copies infamously being buried in a New Mexico landfill, Atari made multiple attempts to get back into the console scene, but it never saw the same success like it had with the Atari 2600 ever again.
Happy holidays from Atari.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.